Hello, fellow internal explorers. How are you today? Oh, the accent is coming out. I don't know where, but it's just coming out. It's been a late night, but that's okay. It's all good. Hey, how you guys doing? I wanted to do this video to kind of go over where we're at. I think it's been about 2 weeks that been going through this class, and I want to kind of comment on a few comments on some of your discussion answers or things that you've written down, which are fantastic, by the way, and pretty much the direction that we're going and what to do next in this class. So, just as a reminder, I did put as attachment to the announcement, I think the last announcement that I had there for you, which was the personalized owner's manual written format. So you can print it out, take a look at it. If you haven't watched the video, watch that too. That also gives you an idea of what I'm expecting. And this is your project that you're going to be doing for the semester, is actually doing and creating your personalized owner's manual. But let me explain a little bit more of what goes into it and the meat of it as we go along. Okay, so underneath my personalized owner's manual folder in Blackboard, I do have the video. I also, excuse me, have the journal, the AHA journal, that you guys can put, talk to me individually if things come up. Because again, one of the things about this, when you're looking at even the are you a human or a spiritual being searching, spiritual being having a human experience or a human searching for a spiritual experience, there's no right answer to that. I mean, that answer, there's no pat. This is 1 + 1 = 2. Okay, there isn't anything for this class that is going to be the answer. The key thing is the search. The key thing that I want you to get out of this is asking the question. Okay, that's why I'm asking this. This is a process class, and you're writing down, expressing to me, and there may be things that you read from somebody else's. You're like, I never really thought of it that way. I like that, and then you bring it into your own existence from there. But the whole idea of asking these questions is to really get you to start thinking more deeply, because too many times we go along in life right now just kind of, it's a Pavlovian response to things. We're just kind of responding like Pavlov's dog, or squirrel, that type of thing, where you end up just doing what you've been taught, never really asking those questions. Some of you have. It's really fascinating. I was reading through some of your responses, and there's some really cool responses here, and I can see, and pretty in depth as well. And I can see how a lot of your history and the way that you've been raised has been a part of what your answer is on whether you're a spiritual being having a experience. And it's really interesting too, because if you take a look at the age range, there's usually a process. And the next chapter that I have in the book that I'm working on right now, that I gave you the introduction to, basically talks about me and how my journey pretty much began. And I'll just give you a little synopsis of it. Basically, what ended up with happening to me is when I was raised Catholic, so just those of you Catholics out there, and I went to U of A, and I was at the Newman Center, and there was a time where I took a look, and I was just watching people, and I was wondering, why are they coming to church? Why are they at the Newman Center, which is basically Catholic? And I started kind of thinking, I go, well, some look like they're there because they want to be seen, and you have these type of people no matter where you're at, which church you're at. I want to be seen. I'm holy and I'm there. Some people were there just to have a new outfit, make it look nice. But then there are some who were there who really looked down like they really needed to be uplifted. They needed spiritual connection of some sort, right? So then I started asking myself, why am I here? What's the reason why I am coming? Am I coming because I was every Sunday going to church and the catechism and all these things here? And then I started asking myself, what are these words that I'm saying? What are these prayers that I'm saying? Is that something, am I just saying it just to say it because I've been trained to say it in order to get First Holy Communion? All these things here. So I stepped back from myself, and this is what I'm going to talk a little bit more about today too, is taking a step back from yourself and observing yourself and really objectively looking at who you are and how you're responding to things. Okay. So I did that. I stepped back and I said to myself, I go, I'm not going to say these words of these prayers until I understand what I'm saying. Okay? So, Lamb of God takes away the sins of the world. Blessed is he who comes. Okay, in my head, I'm going, Lamb of God. Okay, how does that work? Lamb of God. Well, okay, Old Testament, they would bring, pure lambs for sacrifice to God and saying thank you. Okay, as a way of atonement. And then Christ was God's lamb sacrifice. And so I went through this whole process in my head and understanding it. And I really kept from saying it until I understood how it really fit. Once I did that, all of that became mine. It was no longer my parents' or my mom's Catholic faith. It was mine. I owned it. I began to really become an internal explorer at that time and really started questioning and trying to see, Steve, why are you thinking this way? What's really going on? And really not just going out of rote memory, not just going out of Pavlovian, just responding to things just because I've always responded to them that way. And this is something that I want you to be able to take a look at and do, is start to step back from yourself and become the observer of your own life. Okay? Now, what is an observer? Now, an observer is, I like to look at it as a researcher. If you are an observer of things and research, you're observing, which means you're not being emotional about it. There's no emotional connection to it. There's no, you're trying to be as objective as possible, which means being open to all of it. So you're objective. You're taking a look at yourself. You're saying, wow, where'd that thought come from? I mean, we've all had crazy thoughts. And then I've always said, that's an interesting thought. And then if I go back, I can trace where those thoughts originated. And then I can decide at that point, do I want to hold these thoughts as a part of who I am or not? And that's what happened when I looked at what are these things that the people are saying, that the priest is saying, that I'm saying. Do I want to hold on to that as a part of what I understand? So it became the education of understanding myself by stepping back first. Okay. Here's an example of that. There was a man who was taken into a room blindfolded. Okay, blindfolded him, walked him into the room, and they brought him up to a wall, and their nose was right up against the wall. Okay, blindfolded still, couldn't see anything. Then they took the blindfold off. Then they asked him, there's a painting on a wall, what is it of? And all he could see, being that close, was a hoof. He said, it's a painting of a horse. That's what it is. Then they had him step back, and it was a huge mural. It was a mural that was a parade with balloons and confetti and beautiful colors and everything. But because he was so close, all he could see was the hoof, and that's what his view of the world was that hoof. That's why you have to step back in your life every once in a while and really kind of take a look around and say, wow, this is amazing. I never really thought about it. I never really looked at, because he saw balloons, he saw clowns, he saw things that were happy. Now, I tie this also into the dot of depression. And this is something what ends up happening. I talk about the points of light. You can have points of depression too as well. So let's say, for example, that that guy, he just focuses on that horse, on that hoof, on that one dot, on that darkness of that dot. If you focus on that too much, that's depression. That you are focusing on that one little thing, and you need to step back and say, whoa, there's more to this than really meets the eye. We don't do that. We tend to focus on these things that we believe this is the way that it is, and this is, and not every once in a while we don't step back and take a look at there's more to life than just that one dot. Okay. Another way of looking at it too, I used this example when I did a talk. Actually, it was a keynote speaker for the honors program, and love Bob Ross. Bob Ross is awesome. You want to relax and be mellow and just kind of see. He's fascinating, but the way that he approaches things and the way that he looks at it is, he'll make a mistake. I don't know if many of you have seen Bob Ross and just the way that he would do things. There are no mistakes in that he says. Just feedback, and you're doing, and he's like, no, you know what? I'm going to make that into something more beautiful. Another way of looking at it. Let's say that you're painting your painting of life, right? All of a sudden, somebody comes by with a handful of black paint, bam, pops it on you right in the middle, and it runs away. Okay, you have a choice. You can either chase that person, be pissed at them and angry at them for what they did to your painting of life type of thing, or you can go back and say, you know what? I'm going to make something really cool out of this. Now think about this. Bob Ross would say, and this is the way I see it. When painters paint, they use the dark colors first. Because what happens is that you need the dark colors in order for it to put the bright colors on there to give it contrast. And also to make the bright colors even brighter. You need that contrast. You need the things that happen in your life that may be negative at the time. But the way I look at it, God shifts them and makes them into good. So, step back from your life. Start thinking about becoming the observer of your own life, and start to understand that the things that happen to you or have happened to you, you can either continue to look at that dot and focus on that. This is what happened to me when I was younger. My parents told this and this and that and the other thing. Yeah, you're stuck. You're going to be stuck there. But you don't realize that you can step back, and there's a part of the tapestry of your life that other things are tied into. That's why the points of light are so important. Because if you don't step back and realize, this is really cool over here. I didn't realize that this person had an influence on me. And I don't think I had it in my introduction, but there's a guy at the U of A who I remember when I was studying psychology, first starting to. And I told him, I go, yeah, I want to learn psychology so I can read people's minds. And he goes, I'd rather read their hearts than their minds. I have no idea who this person is. As a friend of mine, I have no idea, but that stuck with me. And that was something that was, to this day, holds on as something that is important to me. I'd rather read somebody's heart than their mind. So take and use the owner's manual as a way of gathering the different points of light, the different ahas, the different questions that I'm going to be asking you as we go through this, to really understand you, or at least begin to. At least have a place where you could put these things. So when life gets crazy, and life is crazy, this world is crazy, you can go back to that, to the things that worked, the points of light, to remind yourself, so you're not constantly looking at that. I actually had a friend of mine who had her own private practice. We went through a doctor program together, and I had done the owner's manual for a group of her clients. And a while after, she had told me that one of the clients was suicidal, and it really, having the owner's manual, going back to that as a tool, and she used it in her therapy with her, helped her to reset. And that's what I want you to be able to do with this. I want you to be able to reset. But in order to reset, what are you going to reset on? And this is where we're going into, again, points of light. Who are the people that, the ahas, the great things that are there? Are you a spiritual being having a human experience? Those type of things to start thinking about. And this is where it's going to all start to come together. So, hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to be adding on for this week, by the end of the week, And I want you to start thinking about it now. I'm going to put on there, what is your purpose in life? And what is your philosophy of life? I think I mentioned it in one of the videos, but this is what I want you to think about. Your purpose in life, philosophy of life. Purpose in life is, why are you here? Why are you on earth? What's your purpose here? Okay. Some people tell other people, you're here for this reason, but why do you think you're here for this purpose? Philosophy of life is, what do you think life is all about? Is life for you or against you? If you feel that the philosophy of that life is against you, you're going to be a victim. Yeah, the victim mentality. That's all that it is. If you see it as for you, then you are more victorious and you're more in a positive spiritual light. Okay? So, I am a teacher and a student of life. My purpose is to teach and to understand human behavior and to figure out why I do the things that I do. And if I figure out why I do the things I do, then I can understand others. So that's my purpose in life. Okay? I just happen to be teaching psychology courses. I mean, we have our own, life coaching business that we're starting, that I'm going to do the same with life coaching. My philosophy of life is that life is a classroom and it is in your favor. And so if you are not connecting with your purpose in life or your philosophy of life, it should be like this. Namaste. Okay? It should meld together. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to teach you, trying to express to you what I'm going through, because I'm a student. I'm learning from you. Hopefully you're learning from me. You're learning from other people. But I'm also teaching. And you're also teaching others as well. It's something to think about too. You teach people how to treat you. Okay, if they're abusing you, you're teaching them how to do that. Okay, so we'll talk about that later another time. But for now, I want you to think about, what's your purpose in life? Why are you here? Okay, and I'm going to do a writing prompt at the end of the week, and then you can do that for next week. So just start thinking about it now. If you have any questions, please let me know. Hopefully this made sense. This is fun and exciting, and I'm loving this, and hopefully you are too. So, all right, that's all we're doing for now. So we'll talk to you later. Take care. Ciao.